Are you ready to learn from one of the best in the landscape lighting industry? What's up, blue collar business owner? Welcome back to the Blue Collar Prosperity Podcast. I'm your host, Paul Maska, where we focus on helping guide you to have a prosperous blue collar business. Today, we have with us Ryan Lee. Ryan is a leading voice in the landscape lighting industry with 17 years of experience and a track record of building and selling a multi-million-dollar lighting business. He's the founder of Landscape Lighting Secrets, a coaching program that helps lighting professionals grow, scale, and achieve financial freedom. Since 2021, his clients have generated over $50 million in trackable revenue using his proven systems. His program combines business strategy, technical training, and accountability to turn hands-on operators into confident business owners. So that is Ryan Lee. Welcome, Ryan. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. What's going on in your world?
Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me, Paul. Anytime I can nerd out on business and throw in some lighting in there, it's a great day.
I agree. I love nerding out on business, numbers, profitability, cash flow, all the things you do, KPIs. And for anybody out there listening that's not in landscape lighting, I don't want you to turn this episode off because we're going to dive into things that are really, you can use in any business, any industry, whether it's KPIs, lead quality, how do we become more of an owner, less of an operator? How do we actually price things? So don't turn it off quite yet. And if you are interested in landscape lighting, Ryan will probably share some good insights into how he got into it, why it was so important to his success, and how you could leverage it too. So let's get into it, Ryan. How did your journey start? How did you come across landscape lighting, to get to where you are today?
Yeah, no, I wasn't born a lighting nerd, but once I found out about it, I dived in quick. So it all started actually when I was getting married. I had a job paying me like $8 an hour. This is like 2002 or something like that, And I had this idea that I was going to become a window cleaner and start this window cleaning business. My wife and we didn't have enough money to get married. So that summer I was living in my mom's basement. We knocked doors in her neighborhood. Didn't know what we were doing. Charged $3 a window in and out. And we actually made like $10,000. And I was like, holy freaking cow, like this is amazing. And so that was kind of my introduction to entrepreneurship, but I didn't know what that really even meant. I wanted to be, I wanted to be the first one in my family, my whole legacy, to get a college degree. So I abandoned the entrepreneur dream of window cleaning, went to school, got a marketing degree. Then I got my MBA, super proud of that. But then I got a job and I was making $30,000 a year. And I was like, what? Why did I want to get a degree again? And so I actually was fantasizing about starting my own business again. And I was talking with my brother about moving down to Texas, partnering with him, blowing up this huge window cleaning business. And he was the one who told me, he goes, hey, we could do window cleaning, but I also just did these 2 landscape lighting jobs and they were $4,000 each. And I was like, landscape lighting, what is that? And he says, oh, they light the house, the trees. I'm like, that's crazy. Someone spent $4,000 to light their house. Like, what kind of idiot would do that? And the only thing that was going through my mind was like, well, I'd much rather sell a $4,000 lighting job than a $250 window cleaning job. So if what you're telling me is true, let's just start a lighting business. And that was in 2007. And literally that night we went to GoDaddy, bought the domain majesticoutdoorlighting.com, and got into the lighting industry.
There you go. And then, so you're in the lighting industry, 2007. I was working in finance in 2008. Obviously, housing market didn't have a great 2008, 2009. Nope. How did the lighting, starting that business 2007, what were some of the highlights, lowlights of going from there to obviously, eventually exiting that business?
Yeah. So at first it was awesome because the housing crisis hadn't happened yet. So it was like, man, this is so fun, the American dream. And then all of a sudden, like, the economy crashed. And, especially when like I wasn't surrounded by like mentors and community and all this stuff. So all my friends and family were like, what are you going to do? What happens when you go out of business and all this negativity? And that's not who I am. Like internally, I'm just an optimistic person. And it was actually one of my clients. We were selling lighting jobs that were like $20,000, $25,000, right before the crash. Then all of a sudden people weren't spending money. But one of my clients they spent like $20,000 like right after the crash. I asked him, I'm like, are you not scared? Or like how come you're doing this? Because everyone else is backing out. He goes, oh, I just don't watch the news. I refuse to participate in this economy. You think we're broke just because like we lost some money? We're still rich. And like that changed everything for me. I was just like, duh, like we don't have to participate. And so, yeah, I had to work harder. I had to work smarter. I had to figure some things out, pivot, whatever. But we just kept going. Like we didn't stop advertising because everybody else did because they were scared. We doubled our advertising spend. We did things that other people weren't. And we were able to actually grow. We doubled our business because we did about 350 the year before, and then we went to 600 that second year.
Yeah, it's a great mindset to have, obviously, and it paid off for you. We're not going to participate. Yeah, we might have to pivot. We might have to work a little bit harder, do things a little bit differently, change our messaging on our marketing a little bit, and, find out, where that's hitting. But obviously, from you coming, if you start a business in 2007, 2008, if you can make it through that, I think you can make it through most things. So coming out of 2008, 2009, what was kind of the trajectory of the business from there?
Well, that did teach me a lot of things like that, like when life is good, like we just had COVID, right? Like anyone who was in home services during COVID thought they were like a king, it's like, oh, this is so easy. This is awesome. And then all of a sudden now everything's starting to retreat a little. It's going to thin out the herd, and people are going to have to learn some new strategies. Like you can't just get the low hanging fruit. And that's what 2007, 2008 taught me was like, oh, I got really good at my follow-up game. I got really good at asking for referrals. I got really good at asking for repeat business. I was playing small ball. I mean, everyone was getting door hangers. Everyone was getting yard signs. And those are the things that like, they're going to work forever, but most people don't want to do them. They just want like the quick get rich quick scheme or like pay Google or Facebook some money. But those things don't always work in those states. So I learned a lot through that time. And then after that, we went through a bunch of different phases. We went through the honeymoon phase of like, this is awesome. I don't care if I'm broke. I didn't know how to make money. I knew how to sell jobs. Okay. But I didn't know how to keep the money. And this is where you come into play, right? Like people like yourself. I thought like, this is so dumb. Because again, I had a marketing degree. I had an MBA. So you would think like I would know more, but I didn't. I just thought I found out what everyone else was charging. And I was like, well, we'll just charge less. Like that was my strategy. And I'm like, we'll give you the same service and we'll just charge less. And it worked in terms of like sales. But like at the end of the year, I'm like, how in the hell do these companies make so much money and hire all these people? I don't have enough money to even hire an office manager. Right. And I learned this valuable lesson of like, you have to act like who you want to be. And you have to price like who you want to be, not like who you are today. Because if you don't ever have enough profit to hire an office manager, get a shop, get insurance, get a second truck, afford to spend $100,000 on advertising, then it's just never going to happen. Like, just wishful thinking that doesn't work as a strategy. I tried that. So, I learned it took me about 4 years to learn that lesson. It's like, I got to start pricing like who I want to be and then allocating those funds toward hiring a salesperson, toward hiring an office manager.
Yeah. I mean, that's a great way to look at it because we need to hire those people before we actually need them like 100% of the time too, right? It's not like we go from not having them today to having tomorrow. They're probably not going to have a full 100% capacity starting tomorrow, but we do need them to be at full capacity 6, 12, 18 months from now. So we need to be able to pay them today to have them in a year. Otherwise, we'll never get there. So when we can start to price that in and have the mindset of, hey, we're leveling up. Now we're going to build an office team. Now we're going to build a leadership team. Now we're going to build whatever level we're at in business. We've got to kind of, as Wayne Gretzky says, skate to where the puck is going. Otherwise, we're always going to be missing the boat. So
yeah, I like that. Well, that's what I did. So I just started like putting all my numbers in a spreadsheet. Like, how much does it cost me for this? And how much does it cost me for this? Again, I didn't have a financial coach. I didn't have a fractional CFO. I didn't have any of that. But I did have clients. These are wealthy people. These are people that can spend $50,000 on landscape lighting. They're successful CEOs, business owners, whatever. And so I would ask them and they'd say, well, how much, what's your overhead? I'm like, I don't even know what overhead is. They would ask me all these things. Right. And so then I would go research and I'd start writing stuff down. And when you find out that it's like let's say you're a homeowner and you're saying, I give you a quote for 10,000. You go, well, tell you what, if you could do it for 9, we could move forward. I start crunching the numbers. I'm like, yeah, of course we could do that. I mean, yeah, it's $1,000 less, but I'm still making money. I can pay myself. I can pay my brother, whatever. Well, when you run your numbers and realize that $1,000 was actually your profit to be able to hire your future stuff, then all of a sudden I go, Paul, like I lead with my best price. I can't do that. Like I literally can't do that unless you want me to like not be able to afford to answer your phone 6 months from now or be here in the future. Or do you want me to like cancel my insurance? Where do you want me to cut the costs? Right. And so when you really understand your costs of not just what it costs you to operate today, but 12 months, 24, 36 months from now, Now all of a sudden you're not as likely to negotiate with the homeowner because you can't. Like, like, because a lot of people feel guilty for charging so much. And I'm like, why do you feel guilty? Like, I would feel guilty if I couldn't overpay someone in my area. Everyone wants to pay $20 an hour. What if I paid 30? What if I paid 35? What if I paid $50 an hour? Do you think the likelihood of me being able to keep someone and them be able to over deliver for our clients is higher? So it all comes in place with pricing. That's why I'm like always starting with pricing, because if you get your pricing right, it's hard to not make money at that point.
It really is. And I think a couple of the really good takeaways there for everybody listening is I love the sales strategy of CarMax kind of, coined this idea of when we go buy a car, we hate having to negotiate. Hey, what's the manager say? Oh, we can get it for $500 cheaper. Oh, once you give a discount, then the customer actually loses all trust because they don't know what your best price actually is. If we just say we're leading with our best price, this is it. What are we going to do? Makes it a lot easier. And to tie that into, if you call me 6 months from now because you have a warranty issue and I'm out of business, I promise you wish you would have paid that 10 grand instead of 9 grand because now I'm going to come back out and solve this problem for you. Otherwise, you got to go find another expert, go through their entire process just to get them to come out. So having that mentality and being confident to tell that to your customers, I think is huge. So you say you lead with pricing. Where do most people get pricing wrong? Out of all the clients you work with, we need to price for profit. You and I know most companies aren't making any money. Where do they go wrong?
Well, I'm just speaking from experience, so don't take this like too judgmental. But here's what happens. Like, everybody is like, well, like, you can join any Facebook group. You could find this out. You'll see. People just go, well, what are people charging in this area? What is your market demand? And that's, people are giving this advice. Like, what's your competition charging? I'm like, what does that have to do with anything? Like, I literally don't care what competition is charging. And the irony is funny because if I call my competitor and I'm like price shopping, like, hey, how much do you guys charge for lighting or whatever? And I find out that they charge $300 a light. What's funny is I'm going to charge $300 a light. They do the same thing. They call me and like $300 a light. Okay, that's what we're doing. So no one's ever going to make money because everyone's relying on bad information, just circling them, relying on bad advice. Like, does your competition really know that much? Like, why would you expect them to be knowledgeable, right? And so that's where they get it wrong. They rely it based on bad data, based on some person who told them in a Facebook group to see what the market would charge, because that has nothing to do. You and I both know you have to figure out what it costs you to run your business and what your desired profit is. Like, you have to just know what it costs for you to over deliver for a client. That's my price. Someone could be half my price. That's good. Like, that's their price. Who knows how they came up with it? Who knows how long they're going to be around? But I think they get it wrong because they just don't understand their numbers. They truly don't understand what it costs them to wake up every day. And again, there was a time I didn't know. I didn't know what it cost me to put a light in the ground. But when I started running the numbers, the first time I did this exercise, it was $2,500 was my daily overhead. I was like, it cost me $2,500 to wake up? Like, that was a huge wake up call because I was like, wow, I got to like sell a job today,
Yeah. And it's the statement you said of like, and I 100% agree with it. Like, what do we need to charge in order to over deliver on the promises we're making to our customers? Everybody's different. Everybody's business is completely different. So what the competitor charges is irrelevant to what we're doing because we're answering the phone differently. We got different software. We got different standards. Going back to what you said, we pay our people differently. We want to give our people 401k and pay time off and benefits and all that. We want to do all these things to be around for a while. It's going to be different than every other company that you call. And vice versa, the mindset of when we call, if somebody else calls them like, oh, they're way expensive, they must be ripping people off. Like, we hear that all the time. Oh, they must be making so much money, they're just ripping people off. I promise you, nobody's doing that. Otherwise, they wouldn't be in business. That's how the free market works. So as you start to dig into what's driving profit, what are some of the biggest KPIs or biggest levers that you see that helps your clients, helps businesses, home service companies, lighting companies, start to improve profit? What are some of the KPIs you like to look into?
Yeah, I try to keep it basic because I'm basic, and I feel like I guarantee I'm not as smart as you, Paul. Like, the fact that you're a fractional CFO, you would probably just run circles around me when it comes with numbers. So I'm like, I just need to keep it simple. And so what when I ask people, we offer like these free strategy sessions. If people want to get into lighting or they already have a lighting business, they feel stuck. Like I just jump on a call with them and I'm like, all right, where are you stuck? All right. And it's literally like 90% of the time, I'm like, what's the number one thing you need the most help with? Where are you stuck? Oh, I need more leads. And it's funny because I'm like, 9 times out of 10, they don't need more leads, but that's what they say they need more of. So this is why I like KPIs and I like to keep it simple, because there is patterns, and if you start tracking your numbers, you can see, like, let's say you get 10 leads, the phone rings 10 times, that's a lead. That doesn't mean it's an appointment, right? So if you're tracking your lead sources as well, and let's say you get leads from Angie's list, but they don't convert to appointments, do you want to continue with that strategy? And maybe not, but maybe you do. If you only get one appointment out of those 10 leads and it's a $10,000 job, you might want to continue. So it's not just like, there's not just like one path to success here, but you don't know. The numbers don't lie. They create the story. So I like to track just simple, like, number of appointments based on the lead source. So broken out, not just like, oh, I got 10 appointments. Well, what was the lead source? Was it referral? Was it word of mouth? Was it a referral partner? Was it a yard sign? Like, these things will help you decide how much money to inject back into your advertising, which ones are working. And then you can also decide, wait, why is my closing rate lower on yard signs than door hangers? Like, that's weird. Well, maybe there's a different call to action. Maybe you did something different in a certain neighborhood, right? And so you can adjust your messaging and your sales process, because my sales process is going to be different for a Facebook lead because they don't know me, right? As opposed to a referral. Like, okay, maybe they've already have a relationship with me, right? And so I like to track lead source. I like to track number of leads, number of leads, number of appointments. And then I like to track closing rate and total contract value that has sold and that is still out there. Those are some of the main KPIs we'll stick with.
Yeah, and for everybody out there listening, I agree with Brian 100%. And the really cool thing is, it's really easy to track those, right? How many leads came in? Where'd they come from? How many of those actually turned into estimates or appointments or quotes, whatever you want to call it, in your company? And then how many said yes? And what's the average ticket of the people that said yes? You track those. To me, like, the most amazing thing is, like, when you're like, oh, we could get a little bit better on the phones. What if we converted 8 out of 10 instead of 7 out of 10? Well, we do that every day. That's 5 more appointments a week. That's 250 more appointments a year. And if we close those at, I don't know, 60%, like, all of a sudden you're like, wow, that's in landscape lighting, that's like $500,000 a year probably. So
huge. Yeah.
When you guys start thinking of, when you say you want more leads, it's really like, I want more revenue, and to me, that's what I need. So that's probably why people are always churning through marketing companies as well, thinking it's the magic bullet. But when you guys start to look at the numbers and let the numbers tell the story and dictate the actions, it's like, wow, if we got a little bit better on the phone, or if our sales guy got a little bit better, or what if we looked at our pricing and maybe we need to reprice? So those are all super, super easy, super fun numbers to track to see where the money is going or not going in your business. So curious on this, just because you are, like, to me, I think landscape lighting is one of probably the best things to be able to sell. I used to own an electrical company, and I always thought landscape lighting kind of sells itself if you're really good at it. Because, like, your neighbor puts lights up, and the next day you're like, either you or your wife or whoever's in this house, like, that looks super cool. I want that. So from a referral standpoint, just curious on, like, where do you guys see the most success, from just people that are interested in landscape lighting, from, how the business is operated? To me, it just seems like, if you do a really good job, it's one of those things that really sticks out and gives you the wow factor. What's like a good referral rate? What does the marketing process look like for landscape lighting and all that?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. And this all relates to those KPIs, because like you said, there's incremental stuff of like, okay, could you answer the phone faster? Could you answer more phone calls? Could you then, show up on time? Could you close one extra deal, whatever? But here's what happens with marketing. People, and you said they go through marketing companies like crazy. And it's like, does every marketing company suck that bad? Like, that's not possible, right? And it's because they're not picking up the phone, because they don't know how to freaking close a sale. Like with landscape lighting, I teach people how to go and sell up to a $20,000 job in 1 hour. Like, most people would never, they're like, that's not even possible. They'll go and like take notes, take pictures, talk to them, waste an hour, go back to their office, waste a couple hours putting a proposal together, email, don't hear anything back. Oh yeah, my marketing company sucks. Like, oh yeah, I hear you. You know what I mean? So if you can close more deals, it's going to happen. And also, you mentioned like word of mouth, referrals, the neighbor sees it. Here's the challenge, especially in the world we live in today with social media and the world is not as friendly as it used to be. It used to just be like, oh, who did your lights? You just go knock on their door, right? That doesn't happen anymore. And so if you're not putting out the yard sign, you're not doing the door hanger, now all of a sudden that homeowner goes, man, that looks really good. We should get some outdoor lighting. We should get some landscape lighting. And so they go on and do a little Google search and they put in landscape lighting installer near me. Oh, I don't do Google ads, or my budget's only $300 a month. I just created an opportunity, a lead for my competitor.
Someone else.
Because I don't understand what the marketing mix is because I'm not doing all the things. And so then all of a sudden you complain about marketing and it goes back to the beginning and it's like, I don't know what it is. I just can't make any money. It's like, well, because you're not following the blueprint. Like there's a blueprint of success here and it's called doing all the things. And everyone wants the grand slam. You can't get a grand slam if you don't have anyone on base, right? And so you got to get 3 base hits. Then you can get a grand slam every once in a while. But that's all it is. I'm seriously, it's door hangers, it's yard signs, it's asking for referrals. One of my favorite scripts ever is like on the phone. Hey, is it okay if we tell you a little bit about our company? Sure, yeah. Hey, and just so you know, our goal is to over deliver so much so that when we're done with your lighting project, you'll not only like be willing to, but you'll want to give us a 5-star review and a referral to one of your friends or family. Would that be okay? Is that too much to expect? No, that sounds great. Okay, cool. And then the salesperson says it, and then the installer says it, and then the follow-up phone call says it. And so they're like trained that they're going to give you a referral. And before you even ask at the end, they're like, hey, my sister Kathy came by the other day and I told her about you. Let me text you guys, right? And so you have to have a process. You have to have a marketing machine that you're building so that all these things connect. And people go, oh, I don't want to ask for referrals. I don't like that. I'm like, you don't like making money? You don't like helping people? Like, why would you not? That just tells me you don't believe in your offering, right? That's like, you need to go see a psychologist.
Yeah. And the statement you made of you don't like helping other people, to me, really, really resonates because, especially in landscape lighting, but really in any home service, they're going to talk, right? The homeowner is going to talk with their friends, family, neighbors, Facebook group, whoever. Like, hey, who did that? If you didn't have a memorable experience and you didn't over deliver and you didn't remind them about the referrals, you didn't put in the yard sign, a lot of times it's like, I don't know, my husband handled it, or I don't even remember. He was a super nice guy, though. His name was Joe. It's like, well, Joe is the installer, right? Like,
yeah,
we don't even know the name of the company. So when we could, like you said, just build it into your process and, doing things that other people aren't doing the yard signs, even just, knocking on the doors. Hey, we're going to be in the neighborhood the next couple of days, putting in landscape lighting. If you need anything, let us know. Like doing all these things that other people don't do, all of a sudden
no
it's
one's
like, we've turned this into a machine that now we're in more control too. We don't have to rely on the Google ads. We don't have to rely on the marketing company. We're building this thing internally. So that's all great actionable advice for everybody out there. You had mentioned something that I want to go back to, closing a $20,000 deal in 1 hour. Give us a little bit of insight into, closing deals on the spot, not going back to the office. So, hey, let me work this up and I'll send it to you. How do we get better at that?
Yeah, and 20,000 is about the max, just because of time required. I mean, if you have a bigger project, it's just going to take more time to take notes and stuff like that. But the main thing that's required is when you think about like when you're meeting with someone, if you're even just a homeowner, like what makes you say yes? Like what is it about that company, or is it because they just like were the first to respond? Is it because they're well known? Like it always comes down to trust. You know what I mean? Like if you trust someone, and it doesn't matter if they're asking for $1,000 or $20,000. If you trust them, that means that you expect they're going to deliver what you agreed on or whatever, right? And so it comes down to trust. So you have to build trust very, very quickly. This is hard to do if you have a crappy brand. If your truck's not wrapped, if you're not confirming appointments, if you're late to the appointment, like it doesn't matter. My script is badass. It converts like crazy. But I could give you that exact script. If you screw up on all the other things and you didn't answer the phone, you didn't pre-qualify right, you didn't tell them the things that they need to hear in advance, we call it a price marinade. We tell them, hey, your project could be as high as $30,000, $40,000. If you're not doing those things, then the script just doesn't convert the same. So there's a lot of things that need to happen, but you don't need to get overwhelmed. Like, it doesn't matter if you have a crappy brand today, just start getting a better one. Like it's not a flip of a switch, lighting term, but like it might take time for you, but just work on one thing at a time. Get a better brand, get your truck wrapped, start following up with people, start confirming your appointment. Make sure you're there 15 minutes early because you're probably going to have to get gas and now you're only 2 minutes early. You know what I mean? Like, these are things that really, really matter, and people don't think they make a big difference, but they totally do.
100%. And we talk about it all the time. Like, how you do anything is how you do everything. And if you've done all those things to kind of blow your customer away before you even met them in person, you've already built up the trust factor and got rid of a lot of the, what's going to go wrong with this? Because in general, home service doesn't have the greatest, reputation over time. People don't answer the phone. They don't show up. They show up late. They've got scraggly clothes. They're not professional. They smell like cigarettes, like all the things, right? If we do all those, the opposite of all those things, and then we actually deliver a good experience during that hour, they're going to be like, this is amazing, right? And they don't even know how good we are at putting up lights because we haven't done anything yet, but they're going to assume that we can then deliver on that. So as we start to wrap this up, Ryan, we've talked about a lot of things. We want our listeners to take immediate action. So what's one thing they could do within the next 24 hours to move their business one step forward?
One thing they could do, I've already kind of mentioned it, but I'd just raise your price. It doesn't even matter if you don't do all the other stuff that you need to do to really charge a premium price. But everybody listening to this right now, I don't care if you just raised your price last week, you could raise your price to new customers by 10% right now. Okay. You don't have to even add more value. You don't have to hire me. You don't have to buy another truck. You don't have to do anything. Your existing process, I guarantee, will work if you just raise your price by 10%. You're not going to convert less. Like, everything's going to happen. But here's what's magical. If people will do that, you've probably seen the books of, hundreds, if not thousands of business owners. And so you know what they net. Most people don't know what they net. They might say, oh, I make this, I make that. They always know the revenue, but they don't really know how much they make, right? They're lucky if they're making 10%. Okay. They might say, oh, nope, I make 30 or whatever. And there are some studs out there that are making 30, right? But let's say the average business, they're lucky if they're making 10. If they raise their price by 10%, they literally just doubled their profits. Double. Yeah.
And their price only went up 10%.
Yeah, you just raise your price by 10%. This is called leverage. 10% price increase, double your profit. Like, who doesn't want that? That's amazing, right? And if you're only making 5%, then whatever that number is, you made way more than double, right?
Yeah, you like tripled your profits or something like that. But yeah, it's so true. So you heard
raise your price, but I will say this: the thing that kind of falls behind that is you need belief. Okay, and it's not like I can just tell someone like turn on belief, like just do that, But you can raise your price. But all this stuff that we talked about, it requires belief. If you don't believe in yourself, if you don't believe in your offering, if you don't believe in your people, if you don't believe that it's possible, then you're probably not going to be able to raise your price by 10% and it'll work. You'll do that and be like, oh, see, I proved him wrong. I was like, well, that's because you believed you were going to prove me wrong. So congrats, you're awesome. Henry Ford said one of my most favorite quotes ever: whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. So all this stuff that you and I talked about could literally change people's lives forever, not just their life, but their family's legacy. It could change their customers' lives. Like, this is huge stuff. This is like fundamentals, but this is what it takes to succeed. So if people are already thinking, yeah, well, that's good for him to say, he probably had a rich dad, blah, blah, blah. Like, well, that's what your belief is. I can't change your belief. You have to change your belief. Okay. You don't know my background. You don't know where I came from. You don't know any of that. You've made up this story in your head. So you have to believe. And once you believe, dude, all this stuff is possible. It's amazing.
Love it. There you have it, guys. Raise your prices. Ryan Lee, thanks again for coming on the show, sharing your journey, and providing a whole bunch of actionable advice, wisdom, insight, and strategies for all the blue-collar business owners out there as we continue on this journey to prosperity. Ryan, before we sign off, where can our listeners go to keep in touch with you and learn more about what you guys do?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Paul. I appreciate it. We got a few different things. landscapelightingsecrets.com is my main website. If you want to book a call with me, you can just go there, click start here. We got Light It Up Expo, which is a new expo happening March 4th through 6th. So you can go to lightitupexpo.com. And if you're looking to get into landscape lighting, holiday lighting, or permanent lighting, that is the place to be. We got vendors, we got speakers, we got not just motivation, but like actionable advice that my clients are using to build their multi-million-dollar businesses. So yeah, reach out. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Ryan Lee or Landscape Lighting Secrets, and love to chat with anyone if they need any help.
Awesome, Ryan. Appreciate you coming on the show and taking some time into your day. Talk to you soon.
See ya.
And before you head out, if you are ready to have a business that produces consistent positive cash flow so that you can have a financially healthy business and achieve your personal goals, let's make it happen. Head on over to thebluecollaradvisors.com/call to book a free financial assessment of your business. I will dive into the financials of your business, take a look at what's going on, find any red flags as well as opportunities that you have in your business. Let's make it happen. Again, thebluecollaradvisors.com/call. Until next time, remember, what got you here won't get you there. If you're ready for different results, it's time to start doing things differently.